welcome to episode 8 of Montecito After Sunset. We are going behind the scenes of your favorite new audio soap opera with the creator and executive producer, Grant Rudder. Hey, Grant.
Hey, Christy. Thanks for having me.
So good to have you here. And we also have joining us a very special guest today, a 2-time Emmy Award winner starring on the hot new daytime drama Beyond the Gates. He's been recognized for performances touching on themes of sexuality, religion, and civil rights, and is a respected activist himself. He is the truly dynamic voice of J.J. Roman on Montecito. Welcome, Mike Manning.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, there's that iconic voice of J.J. Roman we love to hear. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm excited to talk about JJ and Montecito and catch up with everybody.
That's good. And you guys got to work together so much. I imagine it's nice to say hello.
It's been a while. We recorded this show well over a year ago.
Yeah, I've interacted with Grant a lot through email and phone, but I don't really get to see him often. And actually, it's interesting that you bring that up. That's the first thing we're talking about, because all of these other actors I've interacted with on audio, but I haven't actually met some of them in person. That's specific to this project. Usually when you do a show, obviously you're face to face with people. We recorded Montecito in spring of last year. And since then, I run into some of the actors on the show, and they're like, "Oh, hey, Mike, you're Mike. You play JJ." And it's weird. That's never happened to me before. Where it's an audio only project, and then I meet the actors afterwards.
Yeah.
That's
unique.
so much fun. And I can imagine part of it is, hey, great performance over there in Montecito that you're hearing.
Yeah, people seem to be liking what I did with JJ and liking the episodes. I was on YouTube earlier today and I was looking at some of the comments, specifically on episode 8, and everybody was like, JJ's finally standing up for himself. JJ, good job, JJ. We didn't expect this. And they're really engaged. And so obviously it's always nice when you're part of a project that is being seen and being talked about and fans are engaging with. And they seem to have some very strong opinions about JJ and Mina and Bethany Gina and everybody on the show.
Let's talk a little bit more about that here. Episode 8, Hostile Environments. JJ is really going through it. And I have to say, as one of the listeners, you really made me feel empathetic for him. And I'm wondering if that's because you had some empathy for JJ, or how was it that you approached that to give us so many of the feels?
Yeah, great question. When I first talked to Grant about JJ, I loved the fact that you have everything that a typical powerful soap figure from a powerful soap family would have. He's the CEO of this conglomerate company. He was raised with a silver spoon. He hasn't really had to work for anything. He probably looks good in a suit. He probably lives this carefree, luxurious lifestyle. And so I was like, okay, cool. I get it. I get that archetype. But then on the flip side, he's clearly struggling with addiction issues, and he's clearly an alcoholic, has a drinking problem, and he clearly is letting this woman, Mina, walk all over him and control him, which usually comes from a place of missing something in your life. You're needing something. And so I really wanted to explore as much as I could, obviously, through audio, but explore those real world issues and what addiction means to people and what being an alcoholic means and what when they're trying to balance life and love and relationships with succeeding in the corporate world, really what that means. And so I tried to bring humanity to him, and I'm glad that seems to be coming across.
I would say
Yes,
so.
absolutely.
I think JJ on paper could be more two-dimensional figure where he's an alcoholic, he's a Nepo baby, and he doesn't get along with his sister. But Mike brought a lot to it, and like you really dug deeper into like really the struggle that this man has going on in his head. Obviously, he's highly manipulated by Mina. He also could be considered like that dumb soap lead where like you're strung along by the women in your life. But there's a vulnerability to the character, and we see that in 8, and we're going to see more of that in episode 9.
Yeah, I think I've never really said this out loud, but I think that I've been acting now professionally for I lived in Los Angeles for 15, 16 years, and then I'm in Atlanta right now for a show. And early on in my career, I was cast a lot as, like what you said, dumb frat guy or dumb jock or two-dimensional white male character number one. It's just a lot of those. And so I think early on, I started to always try to dig a little deeper and find those other dimensions of the characters to try to not have them just be whatever was on paper. With this project, obviously the writing was much better than some of those early things I've done that I hope never see the light of day. But yeah, but I think I always try to create, as actors, I think anybody does this, but we always try to create different levels and different humanity. And that's what audiences connect with. The comments today, a lot of them were like, oh, I've never seen JJ's vulnerable side like this, or I'm proud of JJ for standing up for himself and trying to resist the addiction and everything. And the reason behind that is that there's probably a lot of audience members that can relate to that can relate to controlling relationships, that can relate to some sort of vice or addiction, that can relate to having somebody that tries to manipulate that. I'm happy that they're engaging, and that's exactly what we wanted with this character.
Yeah, we want these people complicated and unpredictable. Yep.
Amen.
Tell me about writing these kind of touching scenes for JJ.
This is really rooted in family and the passing of their father and the passing of the baton, that JJ was the male figure that was born, even though he's arguably not the best fit for the position. And they both are very self-involved, but they both also are really trying to prove themselves that they're worthy of this title and the family legacy and the business. And it helps that it's set in Montecito, so it's a little bit more high stakes, where these are people with actual big bank accounts and big companies, and they're worried about how it's going to look. And Bethany Gina went to the press and made that she would deny this, but she made the comment about him being the frat boy CEO. And so there's those real stakes for these people, but they're very self-involved. And JJ, I think, really just ultimately just wants to like F around with Mina and have fun and not have the pressure of this business, but it's his identity, and he sees that Bethany Gina wants it, and he's going to hold on to it. But it also doesn't help that Mina's in his ear, as we've heard. And I love their dynamic because she's always finding a way to maneuver and win, but she's a support to him. She's going to put her claws out and protect JJ. And as she says to him, I can do whatever I can do whatever I want. I mean, we can do whatever we want. So she knows that they both are using each other, basically.
Yeah, Mina is really trying to tempt JJ here. Mike, I want to hear about recording these scenes with Chelsea and with Crystal. What was that like for you?
Chelsea and Crystal are both phenomenal, and they gave so much. And it was really easy to close my eyes while we were recording, because the nice thing is we recorded all together. It wasn't like, oh, you're going to record your parts and hopefully it meshes with everybody. Grant was really good at getting everybody together to record in real time, so you can hear the inflection, you can hear the emotion. And for the first couple minutes, because it's a format I haven't worked in before, an audio soap, I was like, oh, how is this going to go? And within a couple minutes, I'm getting lost in the characters and I'm imagining everything. And all the actors are just giving so much that it was great. I had a great time working with them. And yeah, and it was great. I felt like I was talking to a crazy ex-girlfriend. I felt like I was talking to my sister. I felt like I was talking to all these characters in a real way. And yeah, I would work with them in a heartbeat.
Just sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, well, when Grant reached out, I was like, I've never thought about doing an audio soap before. And I was talking to some friends about it, and they were like, yeah, Mike, that soap opera started with the audio format back in like the 1930s. They were like these little 15-minute episodes, and how nice it must have been for everybody to be able to close their eyes and imagine these scenarios and everything else. And it wasn't until the 50s where soaps actually became television shows, switched to a 30-minute format. So I was like, you know what? I'll just give it a try. And I will tell you this, and I'm not just saying this because the Grant is on in the interview right now, but I had so much more fun than I thought I would, and it came out much better than I thought. I had no expectations. I had no idea what it was going to sound like, what it was going to feel like, and I'm really pleased with the final product.
That's great to hear. Yeah, I appreciate that. There's a reason why we recorded a year ago and it took so long to make it to the world, because it had to be a certain quality standard and it had to sound a certain way. And I want to do things right the first time. And So I'm glad that it was well received because that was very important that everything was correct.
We're starting to see a little bit of a resolve for some characters. While JJ is having his breakdown, Helena and Bradley seem to be like they've gotten to a good place. I'm thinking as a listener, we're on episode 8 now, but everything could fall apart yet. Are characters like them, does the cycle just going to keep continuing, or are we starting to get some resolve here with some of the Montecito folks?
Great question. Yes, there's a cast of 9 people here, so eventually at some point things need to come down to earth a little bit. Now, with I talked last week about really wanting to tell more stories with Bradley and Helena and their relationship, and we used the time that we had, but it was short. So this scene that we hear in this episode is putting a nice little bow on their dynamic. We see that their kind of relationship cycle continues. They have their family drama, and then they come back together, and then Helena moves on with the marriage, and she really puts up with a lot to keep taking Bradley back into her life the way that she does. But we're seeing that kind of cycle continue in this moment, and it puts a period at the end of the sentence for them for now.
Yeah, and we're rooting for JJ to be good. We're also rooting for Deacon and Gio's romance. I personally would love it to work out. I don't know, Mike, how you feel when you're listening about Deacon and Gio.
Yeah, of course. Why would you not want it to work out? It's people coming into each other's lives at exactly the time that they should to teach them something about themselves and to bring out the best in each other. And also, obviously, there's conflict because it wouldn't be a drama without it. But yeah, of course, I'm rooting for them.
Yeah, we're gonna see now how like they can proceed. It's different. They were really hot, fast. Like they were really quick. And then things happened, and it's hold on. So now there's a course correction happening.
Well, yeah, and Grant, I want to hear about what's coming up ahead on Montecito. But first, Mike, you are, of course, starring now on Beyond the Gates, which has been a phenomenal hit. Huge, mega, major, big time. Did you know that it was going to be such a big deal?
No, not at all. In fact, when we recorded Montecito in spring of last year of 2024, I did not know about Beyond the Gates at all. I had no idea. And they hadn't even started talking about characters. They weren't even casting the show. And so the short answer is no. I am very proud of the show, the first brand new soap opera in 25 years. CBS is putting a lot of firepower behind the show in terms of press, in terms of talking about it. It's the first ever show, hour-long soap network show that has centered around a Black family from its inception. And I'm playing one half of a gay marriage with adopted kids. And it's the first time, a biracial marriage, and it's the first time that's ever happened in the history of daytime. So it's a lot of firsts for me and for the show. And I'm really proud that people seem to be responding to it.
Yeah, Mike, you're
When
doing a
you
great
signed
job on
on.
that show, by the way. We haven't talked, but you're doing great.
Thank you, Grant. Thank you very much.
Yes, and I'm wondering if the role was as big as it's becoming now when you first signed on, or is it because you've played it so beautifully and it's really touched the viewers so much that your role has increased?
I was a contract character right from the start, but I like to think that they're writing more for me because I'm doing such a great job.
We're sitting.
I can say without giving any spoilers away that we have some really big stuff coming up for Smitty, for my character on Beyond the Gates. The next month is going to be a really pivotal month. Just like episode 9 is going to be a pivotal episode for JJ, the next month is going to be a pivotal month for Smitty on Beyond the Gates. So I hope people tune in.
Can you imagine playing both Smitty and JJ Roman for decades to come?
Yeah, why not? On one hand, I'm a trust fund baby, CEO of Regalton, struggling with alcoholism with a controlling girlfriend. And on the other hand, I'm a ex-journalist married to a congressman with adopted kids. They couldn't be more polar opposite, honestly. But that's the fun of being an actor. That's the fun of getting to embody the human experience and really try to find moments that audiences can connect with. And then you grow the baby, you release the baby into the world, you hope people like it. And I'm truly grateful that both with Montecito and with Beyond the Gates, people seem to be liking it.
We love it. We love it. We've got 2 more episodes left, Grant. What do we have to look forward to on Montecito?
Episode 9 has a lot of heart to it, especially with JJ and Bethany Gina. I want to flag those scenes. As always, there's a twist. But episode 9 has the drama and the heart to it. There's a lot that goes down with Deacon, Diego, and Bradley. It's an intense couple of moments, and I want everyone to buckle up for that. But I'm happy with 9. 9 really packs a punch, and it leads us right into the finale of episode 10, and that's when really everything explodes. But I will say that episode 9 is where we leave Bethany, Gina, and JJ. So we're leaving them for the time being. So that's the penultimate episode is a big moment for those two.
Wow. Wow. What you guys have put onto tape, however we want to say it, is truly a fantastic show. Everybody watch Mike on Beyond the Gate. Check out one of his dearest causes, the Thirst Project. He is at Mike_Manning_ on Instagram. Mike, thank you so much for joining us. It was so great to hear from JJ Roman.
Thank you, Christy. Thank you so much.
And you can submit your questions for the after show here right below on YouTube. Leave a comment or check us out on Facebook at Montecito Series. Make sure that you subscribe so you never miss the next hot episode. I can't wait. Thank you guys so much for watching Montecito After Sunset. We'll see you next time.